What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And as you can see behind me, Jetty's Dyna is still on the lift. Wasn't always on the lift. I actually got this bike finally off the lift, got my FXR on there, started kind of putting it back to where it was at because I do have it back from powder. It's underneath the table right now, all covered up, and I wanted to get started on it. But unfortunately, after taking this bike to Justin's to swap it out for this bike, it's still leaking. I need to get it right for him, you know, because I told him I'd fix it. I told him I'd make it right. And it's looking like what some of you guys kind of suggested in the last video, or the video of this bike, that it could possibly be the maybe the transmission seal or the primary seal. I think that's what we're dealing with right now. So I got to tear this thing down. I got to figure out the parts for it, which we're going to do in today's episode, and get the parts ordered. So hopefully everything comes in pretty quick and I can get this thing buttoned up and out of my way so I can get on my FXR, because the time is ticking. East Coast Jam will be here before I know it, and I still have a lot of work to do. I got to wire the bike from scratch. I still got to, you know, obviously fully assemble it. And I need to put miles on it before I take it on a 3,000 mile plus trip. I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you guys what I think is going on. What I think is the culprit this time, which some of you guys, like I said, kind of already said in the comments. So I don't know if you can see. I don't know how good this little flashlight is shining up in there. But my output shaft right here, where I got the light on, it's super wet. It's all wet down here. The motor mount, the back side of the motor mount right there is wet. Oil pan. But yet there's no oil on the table after the bike's been sitting for 3 days, because all this oil that's coming out of here, the thick transmission fluid. I use the Bel-Ray transmission fluid, so it's a lot thicker, and it's just sticking to the oil pan and the motor mount, and not actually dripping like engine oil or something would. So that's telling me right there that it's definitely coming from the transmission. And also the only thing transmission-wise that would be here on the back side of the bike would be your output shaft for your transmission. So we definitely need to pull this primary, inner and outer primary off to figure out what's going on with that. See exactly what it is. Is it a spacer? Is it just the seal? Is it possibility of a bent output shaft from the chain being too tight? At one time, this bike had some type of debacle with the swing arm that could have jolted a bunch of stuff and caused issues. Either way, we need to get it right, and we need to remove all this in doing so and see what we actually have going on. So what I'm gonna do is get a pan underneath here. We'll start draining the oil, foot control, obviously shifter linkage, outer cover, start pulling the clutch back, and just getting this thing disassembled. So I'm gonna set the camera up, and we're just gonna get to work. my current dilemma. Still a little wet underneath here, but I would expect it to be, I don't know, I just would feel like it would sling it everywhere, I guess. And it's just kind of running down right there. Here's what it is. Justin suggested maybe this shaft right here was going to be leaking, but there's nothing wet on this side. Everything is inside there. So I guess the next step to do is we need to get this this right here off. So we got these 2 set screws that help get this little clip off. This is the Jim's Mega Nut. Hopefully the socket I have works for this, but we need to get these 2 Allens out. We can take this off, and then let's look behind this and see what more we see. All right, got the rear sprocket off, or the forward sprocket off, and you can definitely see a little bit of wetness coming out from where this spacer goes. It's starting to develop a little bit of a groove. I'll get that thing cleaned real good and check it out. You can see it's puddled up right here inside the lip. So what we need to do is we need to clean all this real good, get this seal out, and then I need to go buy Harley. Pretty sure our local dealership had these in stock, so I can just order a new one. And hopefully that's going to be our issue with this thing. And then we can button everything back up. While I'm at it, go ahead and get a new one of these, because it actually did look like it's probably leaking a little bit at the bottom. There's a lot of oil right here on the engine case. So it could be coming from this seal. So we're going to go ahead and order a new one of these. That seal, and then we'll replace the seals on the primary as well. So that way everything that buttons back up, it's good to go. And if it is leaking from anywhere else, you know, we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there, unfortunately. So I'm calling it a night. I'm going to run into the house. I'm going to do some research to get some part numbers, make sure I can get all the parts, make sure everything's available. And I'll pick the camera back up tomorrow and kind of let you know where we're at on this thing, what all I was able to source, what all I was able to purchase, and then hopefully get the seals and everything back in this thing and finish up this video for y'all and get it out so I can get back on track with the weekly uploads, because I already know it's February and I'm already slacking. It's just a lot of work, a lot of time, and I'm falling behind. Let me get off here and pick back up when we have, hopefully, everything in hand to replace it and start buttoning this thing back up. Okay guys, it's the next day, and I was able to go buy Harley-Davidson today at lunch. Picked up a few parts that we need. However, they were 1 part shy. They did not have this gasket, which is your engine case to your inner primary. So they did not have this in stock, so I got to go back out there and pick this up. But no biggie. I think where most of our leak was coming from, here's the main shaft transmission seal. There's a roller bearing right here that's got to get lubricated, and this actually keeps all that oil and material back. So the spacer that goes between your where the splines are, it goes over the splines, and then this aftermarket sprocket goes up against it. On a original setup, this spacer will be part of your forward belt pulley. But this spacer goes in here pretty easy. You know what I mean? And it feels like, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's got a ton of play, but it definitely isn't like a nice snug fit. So it could be possibly, as it's warming up and stuff like that, letting some oil pass through. Also, when I took all this apart, there was some like white gooey, I don't know if it's like some type of sealant grease or something that was all over everything. There's a little, you can almost still see some of it on the back side of that. I haven't cleaned all the way out because there's an O-ring that goes inside here, but it was a little bit all on everything. So, oh yeah, you can even see some right there on the back side of that. And I've never used it before, but whatever that was on this, and it was only in like certain areas. So some areas were rubbed off, some areas were still on there. So this could have been it, you know, just how loose this fits in here. With our new seal, it's definitely a much, is it in there? Yeah. A much tougher fit, you know what I mean? That thing's not coming out. I'm really hoping that this is what it is. All the signs point to this. I want to go ahead and put this in. I'm going to kind of do what I can. We went through here, we cleaned a lot of this up. So, you know, wiped everything down, wiped all this. You know, I don't see any other trails where oil is coming from. So let's say that let's hope and fingers crossed that this is what it is. So this seal, I don't remember what the cost on this thing was, but it wasn't too expensive. It's all genuine Harley. You should be able to just push it in evenly with your thumb all the way in until it's nice and flush against housing. So just make sure that however it is, that one area is not pushing out further than the other, because if it's at any sort of an angle, it's going to get that oblong shape and it's going to create a leak. So everything feels nice and flush. We'll slide this in. The O-ring goes against the roller bearing. This thing just kind of, actually I want to put a little, I clean it real good, but I want to put a little, nothing crazy, just a little bit on here just to help it push itself into the seal. So bring slow on there. That's all in there. Then our pulley with our chain. Get placed on here. Get it lines up. It's just got splines in there, so nothing crazy. Alright, now real quick, we're going to get this sprocket nut on there. This is that Jim's Mega Nut that I was talking about earlier, or yesterday I guess. We're going to put a little Loctite on there. One thing that the manual does say is on your mating surfaces, put a little oil on there, helps with the friction, everything such as that. So a little oil on the flat side, and then a little, make sure all the oil's out of the threads, put a little thread locker on the threads themselves. Now I don't have a specialty hold for this. There's like a pinch thing that they sell. I'm going to try to use this little device that I can use for my primary. We'll see if it works. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to run this thing into 100 foot-pounds. I'm just going to hit it till it like kind of stops, not really chug it in there. But this half-inch should go past 100 foot-pounds. So, alright, it stopped. I'm not trying to bash it into the ground. Then it says to back it off 1 full rotation so I can see my mark. Alright, it's basically 1 full rotation. Then it's telling me to go 35 foot-pounds. So what I need to do is I got to get a smaller torque wrench. Alright, there's 35 foot-pounds. Then it's saying to go about 30 to 45 degrees from this point. So 30 to 45 degrees. From here to here is 90. Back to about 45. So I want to go halfway. Not all the way down here parallel with the swing arm, but I want to be somewhere in this vicinity. I want to come to about this bolt right here. So, okay guys, it's another day, and kind of at a standstill on the Dyna. You saw me get the kind of the pulley and the rear main seal on there, which is what I think was leaking the whole time. However, I'm still waiting on the crank to enter primary gasket. So I'm waiting on that. Let's go ahead and start getting this bike disassembled. Basically what we got in store for this bike is Jetty and Justin decided that this bike needs to get on a diet. Man, I'm choking up just thinking about it. That this bike needed a little bit of a diet, so they ended up ordering a set of BST wheels from Brad over at Death Metal Racing. He got them set up with a set of wheels. Unfortunately though, they ordered the wrong wheels. So if you don't know, the CBOs are still a hub mounted, actually just the CBO STs. I don't know if all the CBOs are, but they're a hub mounted brake rotor versus a wheel mounted, which is going to have like the larger 5 bolts. So now we need to order a set of brake rotors, and then I can do the whole swap, which is kind of cool because now those brake rotors get to stay with the wheels. However, I do need to wash this bike because, as always, Jetty hands these things to me super dirty. Let me show you. You know, it's still actually the last place he was with it was the Lone Star Rally, and this thing is still very much filthy, dirty, you know, bugs and everything. So I want to clean this thing up before I get started. Because he was down at the Galveston Rally, the sand, the ocean sand, really eats away at polished stainless or even just regular stainless. So we need to clean this up. So we're going to take this back off, hand it to Rick to have him repolish the entire exhaust. While we're at it, I'm going to try to reroute this thing because it's kind of being pulled on a little tight, and maybe I'll just cut this zip tie and then zip tie it over here so that this harness goes this direction and over to the exhaust instead of just running across here like that. Try to clean that up a little bit. This bracket, the powder, paint, whatever they did on it, is chipping, so I'm going to touch that up for Jetty. Just get a couple of little things tidied up on this thing. The wheels they ordered, were a gloss crushed carbon. And as you see, this bike is a dry carbon, crushed carbon. So we're going to remove the tank panel and both fenders and have those clear coated so they match the wheels. Next video, you'll get to see the fenders, the wheels on it. But let's get this thing stripped down. Make the best use of the time that I have right now, because I got to get these bikes moving. I got to get things out of my way. So yeah, let's set up the camera. Let's wash this thing. Get ready to disassemble it. I think we're cutting the video off here. Got the Road Glide pretty much disassembled and ready for its upgrades. So hopefully in the next episode, we can just kind of do everything at once. We'll get the fenders back, that little dash tank back, and I'll show you what's going on with the wheels once the new brake rotors arrive. So we'll get this thing finished up on the next episode and the Dyna finished up on the next episode. So waiting on those gaskets. They should be here hopefully, I think they said Friday or Saturday. I guess the only thing I got left to do is edit this video and get it out to you guys and sit around and twiddle my thumbs until some parts arrive. Hopefully, if all goes right, my FXR can be on the lift. Fingers crossed, I can get that thing ready for May. So stick around and let's make it happen. So I appreciate all you guys following along. I know this video really didn't accomplish anything, but in my head, it definitely accomplished a lot. And it's got me in the right direction to try to hopefully clear my garage so that way I can work on my stuff and have a little bit of a breathing room. I need a shop. I really need a shop. So maybe one day, hopefully, that'd be great. Till then, you guys take care and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.